Today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show, go to patreon.com/JoshuaVelas and become a $2 backer today and get early access to the new episodes. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, but for now, on to today's episode. You're listening to the Augmented Experience podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Joshua Velas. I'm a student, musician, and a gamer at heart. Join me as I sit down every week to talk about all the latest news in the technology, business, and video game world. I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Velas. I am your host as usual, and obviously, welcome back to the show. Today's episode 156 of the show. Before we get started, I'm going to do a bit of house cleaning real quick because, well, you guys know we like to do this around here, and it only makes sense that we do house cleaning because, well, you guys like it when we do it, so we're doing it. I do want to say thank you guys for coming back and supporting the show. It really does mean a lot to me that you guys constantly take time out of your days to listen to these episodes, to download these episodes, to share them, because to me, it just means a lot that you guys do this because you guys constantly keep giving me feedback on the show. You guys constantly are active with the show because, well, you guys pick the topics and you guys let me know what you want me to talk about, which I greatly do appreciate that. And, well, as I'm saying now, I appreciate you. I do also want to take away something a little bit from the show and just say thank you to everybody who wished me a happy 21st birthday on the 20th of January. I really appreciate it. It really means a lot to me, to everyone that reached out and wished me happy birthday or was there on my birthday with me. And I just thank you guys for being for supporting me, for being there, whether it be in person or through messages. I really, really do appreciate it. And I thank you guys so much for that because, it was my 21st birthday. So it definitely made things very special. And I greatly appreciate that. I do also want to say thank you to the Patreon backers. Thank you guys for your constant support. I greatly appreciate you guys. Love you guys to death. Obviously, for today's episode, it was a little bit different due to technical issues that we had with the episode, which thanks YouTube. And so now we have to redo this. However, if I'm being honest, I'm glad that I'm doing it again because it gives me more time to reflect and to think about how I felt about things. And today's episode, we're going to be talking about something not too serious, more super lighthearted really, but it definitely is a little bit controversial in the fact that, well, Microsoft attempted, and I'm going to use that word, attempted to raise the prices of Xbox Live Gold to $60 for 6 months and effectively $120 for a year. They attempted to do that and failed miserably because the internet was like, hell no. So they backtracked and now they're making things a little bit better. And to me, it's very interesting because I'm seeing two sides of this spectrum where some people are like, yes, we should hold Microsoft accountable, and people saying that we shouldn't. But I do feel like the answer lies somewhere in between because while I do believe in my own personal perspective that Microsoft in this sense should be held accountable, because let's be honest here, this was clearly not a good idea, in any shape or sense of the word, that this, whoever thought this was a bright idea, I'm just being honest, did not think this through. They were trying to put profit above the customer, which is never a good idea because, well, yes, you want to gain profit. That's what a business does. However, if the whole marketing strategy behind the Series X and the Series S is to sell the consoles at a loss to build a bigger community, it doesn't make sense that you would try to raise the price of the online service that is needed to play your games online. And it doesn't make much sense. It doesn't add up. And I get it. People are saying, well, Microsoft has to make money somehow. They have to make money somehow. And I'm like, well, they are. Game Pass is making a ton of money because it's gaining subscribers more and more. And granted, let's be honest here, this whole attempt was just to push Game Pass Ultimate because Game Pass Ultimate has Game Pass and it has Xbox Live included for $15 a month. So this was clearly a ploy to get people into Game Pass Ultimate, which I get it. You want to get people on the subscription service. However, that just wasn't the wisest of things to do, because you pissed off a lot of people. Because yeah, Xbox Live Gold for 12 months is $60. That's how it's been. And a lot of people, well, we don't agree with it wholeheartedly, because people are like, well, it should be like PC, where the only bill you're paying is your internet bill once a month. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's fair. Like, I don't blame you, because I wish that Xbox Live Gold went free, because that was some of the rumors that were going around early on before the Series X actually came out, that Xbox Live Gold was going to go free. And a lot of people were interested, because then it's like, well, if it goes free, that would be game changing, because now the online will be free. And a lot of people were actually hoping that's what would happen. But I understand that Microsoft is a business and they still have to make money, because, well, yeah, they want you in their ecosystem, which makes sense, because their ecosystem is PC, mobile, and consoles, which is ironic that I mentioned mobile, because just a side tangent, I did end up getting the S21, as I mentioned. Like, I did an episode of talking about the S21, and so far I'm actually liking it. I'm liking it a little bit more due to the fact that for the price I got it for, but so far I'm actually really enjoying it, and I will be doing a review of this sucker soon. And I think this might end up replacing my Pixel 5. I know some people might get mad at me for saying that, but I'm just being honest. I'm so far liking this phone. I see why a lot of people like it. I went for the Thanos edition. This thing is beautiful, and I can't wait to see how this thing turns out. And just a quick little note, if you haven't caught wind, I don't know how you haven't, but yes, this episode is clearly going to be an all audio version because, well, technical issues. So we're doing an audio version today, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, well, the main important thing is like my voice, because, well, you obviously can clearly hear I would say you guys can clearly hear my voice is changing every time I'm expressing different emotions and things like that, which is kind of a good thing of being a good communicator, you know, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Well, that's actually true. That's a whole different side tangent. We'll do something like that later. But back to the topic at hand. I do agree that we should hold Microsoft accountable, because let's be honest here. This was not a good idea. Like, whoever thought this was a bright idea definitely didn't think this through, because if someone even pointed this out, they're like, think about it. The day that this news was announced, nobody from Xbox, like nobody, not Phil Schiller, not anybody else, or Phil Spencer, my bad, not Phil Schiller, that's a different dude. Phil Spencer didn't even say anything. It wasn't until after they reversed it that people started talking about it. And it's just like, yeah, this clearly sounded like a corporate move. This was not clearly somebody from the Xbox team. I could be wrong. I have no idea, because, well, they haven't actually told us whose idea this was. And I know some people are trying to throw Phil Spencer under that bus and say this was Phil's idea, which I'm giving the shadow of more of a benefit of the doubt that it wasn't Phil. But it's definitely a bit concerning that somebody thought this was going to fly, which, let's be honest here, you kind of messed up, Jack. Like, it kind of glubbed up. And let's just be honest here, this was not a good idea. Granted, yes, there was some good that came out of it, though. The prices went back to $60, but they also removed the Xbox Live Gold requirement for playing free-to-play games like Fortnite, Apex Legends, the same thing that the Switch does and PlayStation does, where free-to-play games don't require gold anymore. So you can just play them and keep going, which I think that's great. I think Microsoft should have done that a long time ago, which, if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, Microsoft, in terms of policies, yes, they do have a better return policy than Sony and Nintendo by a county mile. They're still not as good as Steam, but at least they're better. So we take what we get. Like, that's not even opinion, that's objective fact. Like, yes, Microsoft definitely has a far better return policy than Sony and Nintendo combined. That's objective fact. You can argue with me as much as you want. You can call me an Xbox fanboy. No, it is objective fact. If you look at the return policy, Nintendo is the worst. Sony is probably second place for the worst. And then Steam is the best. And then Microsoft would be the second best. Like, that's just cold, hard facts. Like, you cannot argue it. I am sorry. I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. I'm just stating facts. But to me, it was odd because a lot of people remember that Xbox Live Gold existed because they wanted to provide you a premium service, which I agree. Back in the day, Xbox Live Gold did provide a lot of quality benefits, like better security and things like that, like better servers in comparison to PlayStation. Like obviously PlayStation constantly got hacked back in the day, which led to the whole infamous, credit card scandal where people got their cards stolen or their credit card information stolen from them due to the PSN hack. And it also led to the Xbox Live Gold games, which a lot of people like, because let's be honest, in the 360 day, the Xbox Live Gold games were pretty good. Like heck, they gave out Halo 3, Halo Reach. Like that was bonkers, the fact that they did that. They did Street Fighter 4. Like they did a lot of cool stuff. And it provided a lot of value to customers. Granted, now Xbox Live Gold, the games aren't the best. Like they're decent at best. And obviously the main push is Game Pass, because Game Pass gets you everything for a monthly fee. But to me, I do also understand why some people are saying that they don't think it's important to hold Microsoft accountable, because, well, the status quo never changed. Instead, the status quo got better. But my problem with that, specifically that kind of thinking, is that, yes, the only reason that this got undone was because everybody raised their voices and they're like, hey, this is bullshit, we're not tolerating this. And especially when Microsoft is trying to push the Series X and Series S in the hands of consumers, this wasn't a good idea to kind of piss off your fan base. And when I say kind of, I mean you literally pissed off your fan base as hard as you could. And I don't think that was a bright idea, especially when you're trying to sell this console to people, because as availability continues to try to get better, like granted, not even me tooting my own horn, but I'm just like, yeah, I got the Series X. Like I was able to get one, thankfully. But there's people that haven't. There's people that haven't even been able to get PS5s, which by the time I think Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 comes out, that's when I'm probably going to buy a PS5 too, just to play that, because I want to play that game. But to me, I just don't agree with the narrative that we should just let Microsoft, or specifically Team Xbox, just let this slide like nothing happened, because I'm like, no, we cannot. As consumers, we need to tell these companies and use our voice and vote with our wallets that, hey, things like this will not slide. Like we will not tolerate things like this, because that's what's happening. That's why Sony was able to raise prices to $70 in some of their games. And I know some people will say, well, Josh, that's more of a 2K thing in other companies. But I'm like, no, Sony did that with their first party games because they deemed that valuable. But I'm like, well, what is the value? Like we haven't had a game that's truly exclusive to the PS5. We haven't, let's just be honest. Most of them have been, ported back to the PS4. So I don't really see the benefit of charging 70 just for the sake of charging more. And that's a whole different argument. But a lot of people made the point where it's like, well, if you complain about the online subscription prices getting raised, then you should complain when game prices get raised as well, because I don't think that's fair. Like, yes, I get it. They have to pay developers and things like that. But if you've had a status quo for a while now, like it doesn't make sense to change it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And this really isn't fixing anything. Like, let's just be honest, it really isn't. So it is very interesting in that sense, because Microsoft, as I mentioned before, they're trying to get these things in your hands. They're trying to get you in the ecosystem. This was not a good idea to get people into the ecosystem. Like, I don't know who thought this was a bright idea. I get it. Game Pass Ultimate was the initiative. Like, it was trying to get people to buy Game Pass Ultimate. And I guarantee you, a lot of people probably signed up for Game Pass Ultimate out of fear, because they're like, well, crap, the prices are going up. If I'm paying that much, I might as well just get Game Pass Ultimate. And they just hurried up and got Game Pass Ultimate. And I know a lot of people talk about it, that they're locked in for like 2 years and stuff like that, because, well, they find it valuable. Like, they deem the service valuable. And I don't blame them. It is a good service. I'm not going to pretend it isn't. But I just don't think this is the right approach to go about it. Like, I think the service should, in its own right, be the selling factor. Like, it's the reason you go out. It's not because something else triggers you to go get it. It's the thing itself has value, and you have deemed that its value is worth it. And in my opinion, I'm just like, guys, what were you guys thinking, bro? Like, come on. Like, as someone that likes the Xbox brand, like, I've always liked the Xbox more than PlayStation. Like, granted, because I grew up with the PS2 and and I got my 360 when I was like 13, and I stuck with the 360 up until the Xbox One came out. I got the Xbox One late, then I bought the Xbox One S. I was tempted to get the X, but when the Series X, I was like, you know what? I'll hold off. I'll buy the Series X. I thankfully got it, and I'm happy. But in my opinion, it is still interesting seeing how it's all playing out, because Microsoft has shown that they can do this. And a lot of people are concerned because they're like, well, what do we do? And the reality is you have to be on guard. You cannot let companies slide with stuff like this, no matter what. Like, let's be honest here. As consumers, you hold a lot of power because you vote with your wallets. If you do not give a company your money, they will submit because they're like, well, crap, we need money. And I'm like, well, duh, you give me product or service, I give you money in exchange. Now, I will give you money in exchange if the product or service is good. If not, you're not getting my money. That's business 101. You guys, like, not you guys specifically, but consumers in general, let companies get away with too much bullshit. Let's just be honest here. Like, we let Apple and Samsung get away with the BS of removing the headphone jack. We let them get away with removing chargers from the box. An essential item from the box is now gone. I don't care about the earbuds. I could give a rat's donkey butt cheeks about the earbuds in the phones. Like, I really don't care. I care about a charger brick though, because that's really handy. Like, whether you agree with me or not, like, I think it should still be in the box no matter what. And the fact that now it's gone because consumers didn't want to raise their voice. Instead, you just wanted to become, I'm not allowed to use that word because we're trying to be PG here, but some chicken lickers, let's just call it that, that you guys decided to become chicken lickers. And that's what happened. You guys licked the boot. And here we are. Now we're getting smartphones without chargers in the box. Thanks, consumers. Thanks for not raising your voices like you're supposed to do. Like, and that's the problem that I have with consumers nowadays, is they only raise their voice when it benefits them, or they only benefit, or I'd say they only raise their voice when it's something they actually care about and not other stuff that's actually pretty important too. And that just annoys me. It frustrates me. Because like I said, I'm agreeing with you guys that we should hold Microsoft accountable. There's people that will say we shouldn't. And I say, well, no, I think that's wrong, because we cannot let behavior like this slide. Whether you agree with me or not, you have to admit behavior like this is not good, because a company is just basically asserting its will over its company, or specifically over its customers. And the fact that we would have let this, the fact that we didn't let this slide is good. It's a sign of, hey, the community is paying attention. Consumers are voting with their wallets and using their voices to show their disdain for a company's decision, because it's not a good decision, because it wasn't. My only problem is, why didn't people do this with other companies? Why didn't we push the barrier in other areas? And that's where my problem lies, is in the fact that we didn't want to raise our voice in other areas, but we wanted to do it in this scenario. And it's just like, guys, how many other times do I have to show you, or how many times do other people have to tell you? The consumer's voice matters. You guys are the ones giving these companies money. If you don't give them money and you tell them, hey, I don't agree with this decision you're making, vote with your wallet, because that is what will make the most impact. That's what will hurt. That's how they'll pay attention, because they realize we're not getting money. Money makes the world go around in this scenario, because, well, yeah, they need money to keep going. Like, that's just business 101. They need money. The whole point is to earn profit and to provide value to the customer. Value is not dependent on specifically the business. It's value is dependent on what do you offer to the customer. If the service is no longer providing value, then there's no point in paying for it. And being honest, Xbox Live Gold for $120 a year is not valuable. That is a horrible value. You're at that point, just get Game Pass Ultimate, because you get all the games and you get gold for roughly around the same price. So, like, that's just how I view the situation. But I will say that, guys, as consumers, we should be raising our voice more in these matters. We shouldn't let companies keep getting away with bullcrap like this. We really, really shouldn't. And I'm glad that we basically raised our voices and gave them hell for it, because they deserved it. This was a bad decision. My only problem is that you guys should be doing this more often. That is where my problem lies, is that people aren't doing this more often when we really should. And that's what kind of bothers me. That's what annoys me, is that I don't think we do this enough. And I think we should be doing this more often. But in the end of the day, I do agree that we should hold Microsoft accountable. I could also see why people say that we shouldn't hold Microsoft accountable due to the fact that nothing changed and rather the status quo got better because of the whole making free-to-play games actually free and not requiring gold, which I think that's a great move. But they only did it just because they got called out on their BS. And that's what makes things concerning, is that these companies are backtracking because we call them out, because we catch them in the middle of doing something that is not good, that is not healthy for the industry, that's not good for anybody. And specifically, it's not good for you as a consumer, especially given the fact that, yes, paying online is still kind of stupid. If I'm being honest with you guys, I think it should be free. I think it should be like how it was on PC, where the only bill you're paying is your internet service fee. And at the rate Microsoft's going, they don't really benefit from keeping gold because, well, Game Pass is making all the money. Like, Game Pass is making the money. The hardware is still making money. Like, heck, Microsoft as a whole is making money. Like, they print money at this point. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, whether you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you like to listen to your podcast, or you're watching YouTube. Let me know in the comment section down below, or hit me up on my social media and the links down below to let me know if you guys agree with my take, if you think it's a bad take, if you think it was a good take, if you think Microsoft should consider these options, or what do you guys think? Like, how do you guys feel about the situation, if you even care at all? But I do thank you guys for your time. I really do appreciate all that you guys do, because you, like I mentioned before, you guys are great. I love you guys to death. Please continue to be safe. Please continue to take care of everyone around you, because yeah, the world is still weird out there, whether you want to believe it or not. The world is still weird, and things are weird, and people are weird. So please take care of everyone around you. Please be safe out there, guys. Please wear your mask. I know it's not the most comfortable thing to do, but we have to respect others. And right now it's the best thing we can do to make sure, you know, this whole virus stuff stops spreading, because it's kind of annoying. But I thank you guys for everything. Please have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Again, I thank you guys for being patient with me, because yeah, I had a lot of issues, and at the same time, it's also my birthday. So things have been a bit rough trying to get everything balanced and organized. But I really do appreciate you guys. I love you guys to death. Please continue to be safe, guys. Again, I do thank you guys for the birthday wishes. I really, really do appreciate it. Also, thank you, Patreon backers. You guys are great. Love you guys. Please be safe. Have a wonderful weekend, guys. And I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Hey there. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and listening to today's episode. If you're interested in supporting the show, whether it be financially, clicking the follow button, or just sharing the episode, it all works for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I love you guys to death.